Okay, so let me clarify a couple things with my last Minuteman concept video about the battle belt. There's a couple people talking about water and the amount of ammo I carry on the battle belt. Now, I will be addressing those in the next video and in the next upcoming videos, I should say. Now, one guy said that I should take, like, it's too much ammo I'm carrying, which is only 6 magazines on the battle belt, plus 1 in the rifle, which is 7, which is a basic combat loadout. And I should replace it with a pair of good binoculars, which I understand to a certain extent. But this is in a scenario where, one, you have to be doing this, and 2, where you could potentially get in a very active firefight. Now, if we're in a position in the United States where we actively have to start gathering intelligence with firearms and all these loadouts and stuff, then the potential for active firefights is very real. So 7 mags as a basic, like, combat loadout isn't too many. It doesn't add that much weight. If you're worried about weight, then I would rather have more ammunition instead of being able to look further, I guess. Now, his concerns are going to be addressed in the next coming videos, with a magnified optic and stuff like that. But we have, so little backstory why I have at least 7 mags, is when I was in Iraq, I was deployed with a light infantry unit, the 101st Airborne, and we were in a city called Samara. This was in 2007 to 2008. And we had, the city wasn't very big. It was, I think it was like maybe 5 by 7 miles. So it wasn't very, it was a small town basically. So there were multiple times where I was down to 1 or 2 mags, and I had to borrow them from other guys. And that is a very scary situation where if you have to rely on handgun. I know that's the cool thing to do, is be able to transition from a firearm or from your rifle when you run out of ammunition to your handgun and do all the cool guy stuff. I understand that, but having a rifle with enough mags to get through a huge firefight, I mean, it could be a 10-minute firefight. You can go through 5 or 6 mags very, very easily. But the whole idea of having these really slick plate carriers and only having like 3 mags on your chest and stuff, that has a very small sliver of reality, I guess. In everyday life here in the United States currently, where we might run into protesters, riots, active shooters, carjackers, yeah, we can get through potentially with 4, maybe even 2 mags, for your handgun and or pistol or whatever, AR pistol or something. That is likely. But in this scenario where we have to be going out gathering intelligence on a foreign government that has invaded our country, I'm going to take the extra ammo to be able to get through a firefight without, you know, having to just scramble for extra ammo. It wasn't countless times, but there was a lot of times where we would get in a very drawn out active firefight where we would have to chase guys down, or it would get into, like, it would drag on for hours where we were clearing houses and all this stuff, and we would have to go back to the Humvees and talk to either the drivers or the gunners or something like that to get mags from them. And same thing with, like, I carried the 240 every once in a while, and you know, your assistant gunner can only carry so much because he has to carry his mags, his rifle, and all his extra stuff. I could only carry so much with a 240. With, you know, I'd carry like 300 rounds on me, but you know, that stuff goes so fast. It was actually really surprising to me. So I get the idea of being light and fast, and having the lightest equipment available, or as you can get. I totally understand that. But there's always trade-offs for every kind of kit you build, where, yeah, you want it to be somewhat sustainable, or you want to be the lightest and be the fastest, but when reality strikes, I would much rather be able to shoot as many people that are trying to kill me as possible, or have the ability to be able to defend myself from, you know, the lizard people or the aliens or the North Koreans. I don't know, whatever scenario you want to fantasize about. So I get that, but I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I have very close firsthand accounts and firsthand experience of active, long, drawn-out firefights where even U.S. military guys, Army guys that have the best stuff, were running out of ammo, and we had to get resupplies or something like that. Now, just real quick, I know this is a long video, but in this scenario where we're painting the potential of civil war or something, we're not going to be able to run back to Humvees or trucks or your house or something like that. So keep that in mind, where this idea of, you know, a constant ammo resupply, you know, on the battlefield is just not likely or available or real. So keep that in mind. We don't live along the Ho Chi Minh Trail, so resupply is going to be very, very hard. And if you're in a firefight, obviously that's the last thing you want to be in. So being able to stand off and, you know, be able to observe large swaths of area is a good idea. And if you happen to get into that position, you want to be able to lay down as much suppressive fire as you can, because after a while of being in Iraq, I was carrying at least 12 mags on me, and with one in the rifle, so it's a total of 13, and I always had like 10 extra loaded mags in my assault pack too. So there was one instance where I was down to like half a magazine, and that's all I had left, and I was like, okay, never again. We changed our SOPs. Everybody carried more ammo, because that shouldn't have happened, but it did, and that was a very bad feeling. So keep that in mind. I don't know if I'm going to change your mind, but that's the idea behind it, at least. All right, take care. Bye.